to this random stream. And yeah, I'm trying to do this more often. I know you can't get enough of me, so I'm trying to do at least twice a week. If you're joining me for the very first time, then I live stream this and we go over some random topics. I shouldn't say random topics per se, but random platform. So I have a bunch of different platform I listed out here. If I can transition, there you go. And essentially, what we're gonna do is select one of these platform and let the randomness of AI select that for us, and depending on which option we land onto, we're going to go on that platform and just randomly go for Reddit. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to just check out some good funny Reddit or subreddit. For Twitter, I have a bunch of bookmarked items, I guess, or tweets, and that should be like a good option to explore. IMDb is I've done it only once and I enjoyed it. Basically, with IMDb, we just gonna go on some good movie title page, I guess, and then check out the comments, especially the critical comments. Those are the most funniest one. And then if it lands on Wikipedia, then we will just check out a random Wikipedia page and go from there. So, how does it sound? Even if it doesn't sound good, I'm gonna do this. So, yeah, you're in with me on this. And we gonna IMDb it is. Awesome. Before I do this, I wanna get rid of all these ads, which probably not gonna be possible. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to play some music in the background, which only I can listen to, because yeah, if I play it out loud, then YouTube and other platform will ban me. So you know the drill. And one of my favorite channels on YouTube is for music specifically is Eden Garden, relaxing music and sounds. They have like a various uh, combination. I'm not sure if they have like a AI enabled music, or some sort of composer in the back. But yeah, that's how the music sounds like. I thought it was actually playing out of the speaker here. Clearly, it wasn't. All right, cool. So let's jump on here. IMDb. I don't know what I want to check out. Fan favorites, Black Adam. All right, let's check that out. I haven't seen this movie yet. Um, I'm, I'm definitely gonna check out. I'm not a big DC verse fan, I guess. Other than Batman, of course. I'm not a big fan of Superman or, well, Wonder Woman have like a good storyline too, so I can follow that. But other than that, not a big DC fan. Uh, so it's gonna be interesting to check out this one because I'm excited. Cool. User reviews, and let's start with 1 stars. All right, Christian Marthaler. Not to sound like an asshole, but not to sound like a cynical movie nerd, but this movie was boring. I'm just glad I have Regal Unlimited so I got to see it for free, but dude, it was bad. Basic, boring, emotionless acting, especially from Rock. This movie just felt like it kept dragging on with a boring, done to death every superhero movie ever themed with a lame plot that I know I've seen before somewhere. I just wish they would have done something else or at least tried to redeem themselves with this one because I was really hyped for it, but it was a sad disappointment, I'm afraid. The villain was cliche, and this movie was overall whack and cheesy. Good night, New York. Thanks for listening in, kiddos. And Shanzeh Bashar says Black Adam is a cringe fest. It's so bad, like I can't even put it into words. Casting Dwayne and Noah, giving no backstory to new characters, the scary ass villains getting conned by a child, a mom giving orders to a bunch of said powerful heroes and they actually taking them from her. Like, what the fuck? So many unnecessary slow mo shots. Shitty tragic past making no relation. The corny jokes, Lord, the corny jokes making me puke. They tried to do so much yet did so little. Literally looked it they tried to cram everything into one film so it will put some food in their table and free Viola Davis for fuck's sake. She's not needed anywhere. A tragedy. DK George says worst movie of the year. Be Thunder. Okay, let's check out what's Thunder is. Black Adam, a film not at all original, full of sequences already seen in the past in other films. Black Adam, a film not at all original film in other films. I didn't like the CGI they used to make this film. The plot of the film is predictable and repetitive. Is now a product devoid of originality. They always repeat the usual plots. Is now an old and overused product. What? What is now? 1 out of 10. Black Adam repetitive. An overall below average movie. Ekansh Kukreja. Oh, Indian dude. He says, our audience is getting stupider by the minute. Cartoons are fun. Stupid cartoons with horrible characters, bad CGI. Tekken villains are plain stupid. People can enjoy whatever they want, but we need to rate these accordingly. Wake up, audience. Let good things come to cinema and not just stupid cash grabs, please. If you don't appreciate things the way they are, nothing good will happen. This movie is just overwhelmingly storyless action. Watch it at home and don't pay attention to it, but don't rate it any higher than what it is. They are stupidly force marketing the movie and think they can fool audience, which is really happening. I hope you understand what needs to be done. XJDCWTXPC says, disappointing with an exclamation. The Rock as Black Adam is a mess and disappointment. This guy plays himself in every damn movie. No accent, no pointy ears, and no hairline like Black Adam. Warner Bros. Messes up another character and storyline. I don't understand what Warner intends to do with the DCEU. They are literally screwing everything up. And the only reason for this is the inability of Hamanda. They should have brought Zack Snyder back and let him continue working on the DCEU. He would have been the only one who could have built the DCEU. Attention spoilers. The only positive thing about the film is that Henry Cavill returns as Superman at the end. Zap kaboom repeat. Not for nothing, but shouldn't a movie have some kind of story to tell? If there is a story here, I missed it. There is something about an ancient crown, but other than that, you got me. Dwayne is just fine as an action hero, and there is lots going on, explosions and stuff. but nothing makes any sense and the film commits the greatest crime. It's boring. It keeps repeating the same thing over and over. Your mind goes numb watching people being thrown hither and yon. It actually starts out pretty good. But once the rock appears, it seems to lose its way. I'm sure it will be a big success, but not because it's worth saying. Sorry. Alright. I gotta go and check out some other movie now. See, this is the thing with with the ratings, right? Some ratings could be really persuasive, and that could motivate you to maybe not watch a movie or a show. I wanna pick some stupidly, yeah, Thor, Love and Thunder. I watched this movie. It was all right. It wasn't the greatest. RYRY Madrid says, very, very disappointed. I'm a huge Marvel fanboy and hardly ever have anything bad to say to about the MCU, but this was a huge letdown. Ragnarok is easily one of my top 5 Marvel films, so was very excited to see this one, but this was really, really bad. It was boring as hell and none of the jokes landed for me. First time in a Marvel movie. I really wanted to leave or wished it would end already. Huge waste of gore, the God Butcher, and the whole Zeus and Olympus part were so cringeworthy. I don't know how this got made. It was garbage. I don't disagree with you. If you just go with an with heartless or mindless intention, you might like it. I mean, I've seen plenty of idiotic Bollywood movies growing up, uh, whereas the classical Bollywood movies are amazing. I mean, I bet that there are a mixture of good and bad movies in every decade, but the classical Bollywood movies, like the movies which were made in like say 60s, 70s, and 80s even, are much better than the one which were made in like 90s or early 2000s. And every once in a while there is some good movie here and there, but yeah, not as much as uh, it used to be back in 70s. Sebastian says, why is Disney ruining everything? Disney is a machine that catch good movies, transform in trash food movies. Thor is now a movie for children under 12 years. Instead, Thor as hero, Thor is a teddy bear. It is a shame. Let's check out this fanboy's other reviews. How I Met Your Father. Please stop. Wasn't a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother, but it was okay and had some good moments. But this is just a mess. Don't care for any of the characters, the writing is terrible, and worst of all, it's not even funny or charming. This feels like something made 30 years ago. Okay, okay. God's favorite idiot. I mean, this dude seems to watch a lot of movies and like to review. And basically, all his reviews are kind of shitty. Okay, Robo Woman. Oh wow, 1.4 out of 10. This gotta be the lowest review I've ever seen. And wow, simply wow. I wanna listen to the trailer. What? What? The picture quality is terrible. What? This is so terrible. What? Oh, wow. That's a terrible movie. Terrible. Let's see how many user reviews are there. And wait a second. Let's see. Anyone with 9 stars? No. Anyone with 10 stars? I'll be very curious. Not even like, I don't know, the actors who played that, they could have like logged into IMDb and yeah, this is, awesome movie, 10 stars, something like that. Nope, no, 8 stars. 7, 6. Well, I can do this. But 5, 4. I mean, it makes sense. The average is 1.4 or something, so there hardly gonna be any. Ah, there is one person who gave 2 stars, but cool. Let's start with that. Are you kidding me? Okay, this has to be a first year student film that got a C minus. Extremely poor acting, extremely poor camera work, extremely poor lighting and audio. Ludicrous script. Donna Lee Hissing has to be one of the most unwatchable people I've ever seen, even more so than her co stars. And whoever told her she could be an action star was lying. She can barely stand up when training her fighting skills and visibly stumbles several times. Her punches are like my 5-year-old grandson's. Wow. Miss Hazing is an extensive series of films exactly like this, and I shudder to think people would choose to watch more after seeing one. Finally, the cover art of this film is like seeing a TV commercial for a thick, delicious double cheeseburger only to get a smooshed, unappetizing, disappointing mess for the real thing. Don't be fooled into watching. If you haven't watched this, don't. If you have, go wash your eyes out with soap. Johnny Griner says, "What? Beware, this is a poorly shot home movie. Mr. Ferguson needs to update his camera from the 1990s to at least an iPhone camera. Do yourself a favor if you come across this movie. Destroy." Andy Maranam says, "They made a sequel?" Wow, they made a sequel. Why? How? Who am I? Is up down? Is left right? Has COVID crippled so many people we are subjected to this absolute nonsensical madness? Give up and stop spending money. I assure you, no one is paying to see this thing. And the critics are trying to help your mental well beings. Give up and they made a sequel? Oh my. OMG, the $40 spent on casting, special effects, and talent really show here. LOL. Within 10 seconds, I knew this was beyond a waste of time. It wouldn't have held up as a 60s drive-in data flick. I don't imagine any of the actors would want this crude on their CV. I want to reach the 2 star. Where is the 2 star person? Seriously? Is this movie even meant seriously? Most of it is really bad. The lighting often consists of heavily lit areas, while the rest of the picture is more or less pitch black. Except for Sue Price, most actors sounds and acts amateurish. When it comes to the special effects, Viveka's prosthetic arm is clearly just a long sleeved rubber glove that sometimes makes a buzzing sound when moved, but usually not. The visor is clearly just glasses with bars in front of them. Viveka's voice inexplicably changes between being normal and being robotic. The script is terrible in general and full of double standards. The choreography consists of horribly choreographed action sequences with amateurish martial arts, filming from behind Viveka so that she conceals most of what is happening in front of her. A lot of the movie has suspenseful music, for example, when Viveka walks, sits, talks in her mobile phone, and so on. Still 2 stars? Wow. Let's check out this person. Cube Zeta, Cube 2, Cube Moon Knight. Yeah, that's recent. Wow, this person really loved Witcher and Moonwalk and Moon Knight. Why did I said Moonwalk? They watched like every single Witcher's. Well, I mean, it's a show, so I get it, but they rated every single episode more or less. Whoa, this seems kind of out of nowhere. All right, let's check it out. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. One world, one people. We got it. Black people have a hard time. They have had a hard time. They are fighting for their freedom and justice. There are and there have been done injustice. But a superhero series slash movie is supposed to be uplifting and a flight from reality, and not a moral sermon forced down our throats like this. The preaching about how hard it is to be and how hard it have been to be black is getting more than old. If people did not get the point regarding Sam's background by now, they will not or cannot. So nagging won't work. It will just irritate and displease watchers. There was finally some good action again in this episode, and the usual 5 minutes end credits, more than 10% of the actual episode. And the problem with recent superhero movies and series are in this series as well. You have to have seen and remember everything of and from the recent movies to avoid spoilers and get references. Another problem is something I assume is not a spoiler since it is so well known, but if you have been living under a rock for the last decade when it comes to superhero movies, do not read the rest. The trend of killing of superheroes being dead or changing superheroes until they are more or less unrecognizable seems to not only continue in this series but to be accelerated. It is one thing to introduce new superheroes, but the trend seems to be that Hollywood is no longer able to create something new. So they change something existing to something completely new and unrecognizable instead. All right, bro. What do you want to say about Eternals? I liked much of the movie, the most of the characters, the sound effects, the visual effects, the basic story, how the background for mythology was mixed into the story, the creatures and other things, but how at least 3 characters changed side back and forth made the story messy and less believable for me and ruined much of the movie for me. The Bollywood style and far too feminine comic relief Kingo just felt cringeworthy to me. What? Considering the playtime of CA 2.5 hours, I felt that not much was really told about each of the Eternals to explain why they acted as they did. Yes, some explanations were made, but they seem forced and superficial. And considering how long the Eternals had been together on Earth, they seemed to know each other incredibly poorly. And as usual, lately, superhero movies and series have become far too entangled with each other. There is at least one reference in this movie that you probably will not understand if you have missed at least one of the previous movies. When people have to have seen all previous movies and series a universe, it makes it more or less hopeless to begin seeing a movie or a series without having to watch previous series and movies you might have missed earlier, and that you might not even want to watch. That is so true. Yeah, plenty of times I just pass on watching a movie because you gotta get the reference. Especially it comes down to like the Marvel Universe crap. What is Cube Zero? A young programmer whose job is to watch over the reality warping cube defies order to rescue an innocent mother trapped in one of its rooms. Okay. So the original cube was highly rated, and after that, and there are quite a few cubes, and circle, and the cube, and another D cube, and danger one. What is this? Marshrutt Postron. Marshrutt Marshrutt Postron. I was trying to pronounce it in Russian, but Marshrutt Marshrutt Postron Marshrutt Postron, maybe, I don't know. Contemporary Russia, a young couple finds a great deal on a used BMW. Unfortunately, it's haunted because, of course, she said. What did she said? Two-time Academy Award nominee Carey Mulligan. Ba 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 ba. I don't know the cast and stuff. I just wanted to check out what was that about. Only 4 user reviews. Let's see if we have any 1 star. One of the worst movie. Balvinder 71318. This movie is one of the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. No good story, just boring and waste you time. You don't understand, but story is but happening in movie. After seeing all no good end of movie, so it's time waste movie. What? This movie is one of the worst movie I've. He just copy pasted this 3 times. Oh wow! Damn, Balvinder. Okay, this is a Bollywood movie. Hase to fase. Don't waste your time. It's Bekar show. No good rules. Insult of comedy. Poor content. Coolie number one. This is one of the worst movies. I mean, I might have seen maybe 5 minutes at most, and I was like, nope, done with this. They destroyed original movie with vulgarity, over and poor acting. Mr. Misunderstanding. Great movie. Truth of Indian society and casteism. Wait, what? Truth to Indian society. I'm just some scene, but may this movie not released in India. Don't know why they don't accept the truth. What are you talking about, bro? Wow, 3.3 ratings. A cross cultural romance and an intercultural friendship between Ram, Rosie, and Anu goes through a roller coaster ride of love, laughter, and misunderstandings. Okay. Well, Catalina is cute. Who is she? Catalina Karaus is a Moldovan Romanian actor slash sorry singer slash actress. Born in a leap year? What? Why do I? Okay, sure. On 29th, mean it gotta be leap year. All right, let's go back to the homepage. Come on, get rid of that ad. Avatar. 1.2 million ratings. Wow, that's a lot of ratings. And let's check out some reviews. And of course, we're gonna go to the 1 stars. This movie made me feel blue. I realize I'm probably going to get flames galore for this comment, and you all have the right to your opinion about my opinion, but hey, I'm entitled to my opinion too. Avatar is grade A crap. That's right, it's crap. I say this for one simple reason. Without the special effects, this movie would never, ever captivate and take a hold of audience like it has in the past week. Ask yourself this one question. If it didn't have the effects, the Navi plugging their hair into the trees like it's a damn broadband jack, mech suits like just like the ones in Matrix Revolutions, and barely futuristic ospreys, would you care about this movie at all? It's a truism when they say this movie is nothing more than Dances with Wolves in Space. Some people may argue back that Star Wars borrowed from Hidden Fortress, but at least it had enough compelling plot points to make it look different, such as I don't know. The Force, the Death Star, outer space, a location that has nothing at all to do with Earth. This important set of points clearly differentiates Star Wars and Hidden Fortress. But the difference between Avatar and the Dances with Wolves is CGI. This CGI may be pretty, but it cannot ever substitute for story and plot development. Speaking of, the characters say but a few are either very bland or stereotypes. The worst part is the story, and the movie gives us no reason to care about the characters. You know what? I'll go one step further and say that the only difference between Avatar and Star Wars prequel is this: Avatar has an environmental story that we can relate to. That's it. True, the action scenes in Avatar are well done, but hell, the action scenes in the Star Wars prequels were also arguably well done. Still, there's that nagging lack of story development. Avatar is a huge letdown and doesn't belong on the best of list of anybody with common sense. Wow, Bart, you are one angry person. It's a Bart, so you gotta be dude. 16 years? I want to see your recent review. A lot of these are 2000, 2010, 2010, 2010, 2009, 2009, 9, 2008. Well, I hope you're okay, Bart. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. That's a phrase I found myself saying an awful lot during this 2.5 hour long computer game that was as painful to the brain as it was to the eyes. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. This film was expensive in that it cost so much money to make you could solve at least one state's budget crisis with it. So, why did it look like it was nearly all conceived on a computer? Not since the Star Wars prequel has the fourth wall ever been so demolished. Never once did I care about the characters or believe anything the actors tried to do because I knew it was completely artificial. Hell, people still complain about Waterworld being overpriced, but at least people actually got off their doves and did some real film shooting. This whole project stinks of imported bottled water, and soy lattes. This film is a pinnacle of Bollywood overkill, an overblown, overpriced, over indulgent eyesore of a movie with a message. Oh, yes, the message. Underneath watching the latest in nerd fantasy fulfillment with its CGI is a liberal minded jackhammer drilling into your psyche about the evil of American corpor- corporatism, military culture, and rich white man's greed. The noble intent of getting its audience to care about the environment is done in the LSD Esquire Rainbow cornucopia of every Native American and African stereotype imaginable, all set to an Oveo Oveo. Oveo Oveo? New age chorus that makes one actually pine for the sweet sound of the Jonas Brothers. I say this as a die-hard independent who has as much to say about environmental awareness as anyone with a college education, but the caricatures painted here border on MSNBC levels of leftist philosophy. The bad guys are the Republicans, racist military, and corporate oppressors who refer to our heroes as tree huggers, and the alien Navi as savages, and see their violence against them as fighting terror with terror. I'm not kidding. They actually use sound bites from the last decade as part of the script. One character actually refers to the military attack as shock and awe. If you don't want to heave from the vertigo inducing sweep of the completely sterile computer created world of Pandora, the dialogue will surely get you to bending over the toilet, cursing the day you ever thought this was worth even half its price tag. See, there was a movie made very recently that dealt with valid socio political issues that was full of interesting characters and top notch CGI at a fraction of Avatar's cost. It was called District 9. And if you haven't seen it, do so and then come tell me that what you thought of Avatar. Because the former film was able to show the evils of racism without painting its characters as one-dimensional caricatures. It showed that greed knew no color boundaries and that you can combine action with a message and not be beaten over the head with it. I would advise people to avoid this film. However, I know that is next to impossible. This has become the new Titanic, where seeing it is not only an option. It's not only an option, but a requirement with stupid groups of people. I like to refer to those people as stupid. District 9. Well, let's check out. Violence ensues after an extraterrestrial race forced to live in slum like conditions on Earth finds a kindred spirit in a government agent exposed to their biotechnology. Well, maybe I'm gonna give it a shot. Thank you, McCarter214. All right, let's check out some of the other reviews you have. The Fast and the Furious. I bet after this you're like, I am done. Yeah. So just two reviews, 2008 and 2010. The Fast and the Furious. Normally, I don't comment on films that are new. I wouldn't enjoy just by seeing the trailer. But I was reminded of this atrocity when I recently saw a news blurb about another installment of this franchise. And remembered when I saw it for the first 5 times. I was serving in the Navy back in 2002, and our IT department ran a channel shown on the ship that shows movies. Apparently, someone thought it would be a good idea to show this film over and over. This movie manages to be offensive on so many different levels that it boggles the mind and violates it at the same time. The plot is unoriginal and base, the dialogue is poorly written and poorly delivered, the editing is like an epileptic seizure, and yet somehow it is overglassed and shined up, kind of like a polished turd. And as if the film wasn't just badly acted and written, it also manages to offend just about everyone with an IQ about a 10-year-old who views it. I'd say it's misogynistic, but there are no women in this movie. There are material positions that resemble women, but when their function is to be placed on the hoods of cars for decoration, worn in races, or used against other men for position, then basically you're turned once promising actress into blow up dolls with heartbeats. That's also plenty of racial stereotyping. Whites, Hispanics, and Asians frequently insulting each other based on skin color, but hey, that's hip, yo. But I'd have to say this film is more insulting to me as a man. If you believe this movie, then all men are insecure, materialistic blowhards who are in constant competition and serve only to one up each other, whether who has the faster car, who can break the lawnmower, or who can get closest to the ever elusive Menesetros. And what's sad is that I've seen so many trailers for films that seem to ape this MTV culture of immaturity, Fox machismo, and flash zoom editing, since that basically make this the culmination of all that is bad in films today. I try to see the good in all movies, and if I can't, then I just say it's not my thing. But if someone else likes it, good for them. This is the only film I cannot let off the hook. It is unforgivable and I loathe its very existence. Wow, some strong word. McCarter. Wow, 10 on 10? Who are you? This movie made me furious really fast. I won't say what were you expecting, an Oscar performance? I was expecting crap and that's what I got. So I'm going to give this one a 10. You don't rate a movie on how it met your expectations. You rate them compared to other movies. Don't read reviews with the title, What Did You Expect? If those are not what you want to hear, read on. Spoilers, this movie is about a hip hop cop who infiltrates a street racing gang that hijacks trucks for fun. You've got to see the hijacking to believe it. Those idiots tear up stuff worth much more than whatever is in the truck. From the very beginning, it's hard to believe that this Walker dude is a police officer. He acts like a teenager, the only thing missing in those baggy pants that you can get lost in. He's got the accent and everything right. This gang leader guy, Diesel Tornado, is also a tough hip hop punk. So they get along quite well, and the way Tornado's girlfriend acts makes me wonder is she's really a girl or an undercover guy. She doesn't act girly and she's got a scorn on her face 24/7. Not pretty. Wow. Somebody tell me why a 1/4 mile race lasts a few minutes with 10-second cars. Oh, and the last guy to hit the tiny red button on the steering wheel wins. If you read some of the other reviews, you'll probably notice that every second one says it's a clone of Point Break. Here's how you make a really cool movie. Get pretty actors and that's it. It doesn't need to be original as long as all the viewers fall in love with actors, they're going to love everything about the movie. So what if a floodboard magically come back into the car? So what if the cop doesn't do his job just to get the respect of his fellow hip hop buddy? Who cares? The music was okay. I had to say something good. Now, here's how you know if you like the movie or not. You'll like it if any of the following is true. You find anyone in the cast you're in love with. You call your friends brothers and sisters and not because you're a priest. You only pull your pants halfway up and you cover up the rest with 5 layers of shirts, longer one at the bottom. You're a car enthusiast, you're pretty stupid, and you like your movies the same way. If you're into hip hop, this movie will make you feel good. Uh, be proud of the time you spent in jail. Support your friends who break the law and go practice your special handshake with your buddies. Look for an increase of street racing in your area and thank the people who made this garbage. Cheese detector. That's that's name is pretty cheesy. And just one review. All right. And of course, more like this gonna be filled with all of the Fast and Furious sequels. I wanna see something else. Let's go back to Avatar and let's check out Forrest Gump. You would imagine there is nothing bad to talk about poor Forrest, but if there are 2 million reviewers, then of course there's gonna be MP3 Dude 4 who thinks that this movie, the drama, the tragedy, the pointlessness. Spoiler! Oh, the drama, the tragedy, the pointlessness. Forrest Gump is the inane story of an insipid person with the usual Hollywood slant. A brain dead person somehow shapes the course of history, and we are supposed to believe it. The drama is over the top and forced. Are we really supposed to cry when his girlfriend dies during the early 8s here? I caught a virus, she says. Come now. At that time, most of the infected people were promiscuous homosexual men. And in the end, we find out that the brain damaged Gump is wiser than nearly everybody else. This one is so bad it must have Tom Hanks in it. Oh, that's pretty rude. MP3 dude. I must be the only one. 0 stars preferably. I must be the only one who hated this movie. I know that movie of you really love it, but I don't. I just don't see the point. It's just some idiot, nothing against mentally disabled people, but he's an idiot. Sitting there telling his stupid story. However, nothing happens. He talks about all of these things that happened to him, but it doesn't matter. Would he be any different if these things didn't happen to him? No. Does any of it affect the plot of the movie? No. Doesn't matter that he happened to be in certain places at certain times? No. Not unless you count that they got to show off the technology to splice him in with historical footage. Also, how exactly is it believable? He walked across the entire country, right? He invented the smiley face, right? He did a bunch of other stupid stuff that I have forced out of my mind because I hate this movie, right? I just don't buy it. I can't. I won't. Neither should you. Nothing ever happens until the very end of the movie. But you say the ending won't mean anything if you didn't see the rest of the movie. That's what the movie's about. No, it's not. The movie's about nothing. The end is pointless and is the rest of the movie. It's not funny, it's not magical, it's not believable, it's not realistic, it's not good. If I never hear another life is like a box of chocolates or run, Forest, run, or see a Baba Gump shrimp place, it will be too soon. Okay, let's check out this list of perfect movies. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That was a good movie. The Truman Show. I like that. Obviously, The Dark Knight is one of the classics. Uh, Pulp Fiction. Now, who gonna say crap about Pulp Fiction? There gotta be at least 10 people. At least 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And yeah, more than 10. like a nightmare that never ends. Well, I finally saw Pulp Fiction. Hadn't after all this time, but I've heard so much to do over it, so I rented it. I guess I must not be a film critic material because I didn't appreciate the art of this film or its brilliance or any statement it might have made. It was unpleasant, filled with scumbag people I cared nothing about, doing god awful things to each other with horrendous graphic visual and appalling dialogue. It jumped around in time, circling back to where it opened, but from another viewpoint. And while that may be some sort of artsy crafting in editing or storytelling, it doesn't save it from the fact that it was just plain revolting. When the characters could get away for a second from MFing all over the place, there was some interesting verbal exchange. Bright and witty and even vaguely profound, but Kafka it earned. I have to say, I thought all the performances were incredible, especially Samuel Jackson. But can't Quentin Tarantino stay out of his own films? Even playing a nicer guy, he comes off as a borderline psycho. I thought it was very interesting, though, to see Chicago Hope's Eric Stoltz in there as a drug dealer. I worry about people's mind if this is what they think of as a great movie. Eek! A movie about redemption? Gee, I didn't see any of that. If perhaps a character got out of the violent melee alive, I'd hardly call that redemption. If they are hardly anyone worth caring about being redeemed in the first place. An earthquake fault could have opened up and swallowed the lot of them. And I would have applauded. People think it's really cool or trendy to give acolytes to trash nowadays. Time to get some mouthwash for my eyes and get the stench out of them. Wow, Hunka. Are you still rating movies? Shakespeare in Love, Romeo and Ethel, The Pirate's Daughter. So 1999. Okay, so this dude haven't been active for like 20 years. I'm assuming it's dude. Who knows? Stigmata. When a young woman becomes afflicted by stigmata, a priest is sent to investigate her case, which may have severe ramification for his faith and for the Catholic Church itself. Sounds like some lame ass movie. Yeah, we were talking about the top movies, right? All right, perfect movies. What other movie is perfect? Well, of course, the classic Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, what could be wrong about this movie? Keep in mind, this was originally aired or released in 1981. So S. Dodd says a hero for the new agers. I watched this film on the opening night. What? And I was extremely perplexed walking out. The first thing that puzzled me was how on earth the film got away with a PG rating. I figured it this way. It was trying to be a kid's adventure film, but was so poor that it needed to compensate through over-the-top violence and horror. So my puzzlement was how on earth Lucas and Spielberg managed to bend the arms of the censors to get their PG rating, which allowed them to keep on marketing the film at children's fare. And the other thing that puzzled me was that the movie was over before it had even started. I hadn't noticed the story starting anywhere, so I was wondering how the movie could have finished. In other words, there was no film, just a place of action. And then suddenly the lights coming on. I heard someone comment on the way out, "I've never seen anything like that before." I don't know if she meant it in the same way as I did, but it was exactly my sentiment. I had never seen anything like that before. A film that's not a film at all, just an excuse to put one action sequence over another. Oh, sequence after another. In fact, the censors should have banned the film on account of its having no story. How could Lucas and Spielberg get away with this? The overall impression I got was that there's something very rotten going on in the film world now. What are you talking about? This dude rated this on 2010, in 2010, like exactly 12 years back. And he's talking about going on in film world now. This movie was released in 81. That's like freaking 50 years back. Oh no, 40 years back. 41 exact to be precise. The above response was instantaneous, and it was before all the legend around this film had grown up. I didn't think the film was going to be a hit. In fact, I thought it was going to fall flat on its face. But the film went on to break box office records everywhere, and after the legend had cemented, I started to have different feelings. I reasoned that I may have missed something the first time, and after reading the umpteenth glowing review, the film began to look better in my memory. However, a recent viewing helped to dispel all these false notions. It must be stated out and out, this film is bad. There's nothing more to be said about it, but there's a lot to be said about the audience. I think it's high time that we said a few things about the movie brats and the popular appeal that they court. The thing started proper with Star Wars in 1977, and this is where the Raiders phenomenon began really. Star Wars is an equally bad movie, but it had a few things going for it. It was presented as a myth or fairy tale for the modern age, and it worked too. Three reasons for this. One, the groundbreaking special effects gave it an epic quality, exactly in keeping with the space mythology being presented. Two, the Hollywood narrative was totally disbanded, giving away for an episodic structure. This helped the myth making because without a narrative drive, people could never whatever they like into the movie. And three, the notion of the omnipotent force with both a good and dark side captured the imagination of a world moving towards New Ageism. So, Star Wars started it all, and the new age of the Hollywood blockbuster had begun. These films don't rely on the traditional virtues of film anymore. Their aim is to wow audience with something else, more specifically the expensive, special effects laden set piece. They cater to the new age mindset of me, me, me. People don't go to the watch and stories of other people anymore. They go to participate in the megalomania of the filmmakers who were making inflated films with inflated budgets and inflated subjects. It was the me for the filmmakers and the vicarious me for the viewers. In short, the pornography of self-worth. And Raiders is only another early landmark in this trend. Lucas and Spielberg claim to be reviving the B-movie adventure serials of the 30s, but there is something horribly ingenious here. B-movies are cheaply done, purely escapist, and never meant to draw attention to themselves. A film like Raiders does nothing but draw attention to itself. It's only an excuse to use the episodic structure so that one set piece can be followed by another without worrying about character or plot, but all this doesn't explain why Raiders became so popular. I guess the secret lies in the hero, Indiana Jones. When Star Wars kicked off the whole thing, there was an epic but no hero. Luke Skywalker is in no sense a hero, only Han Solo has a semblance of heroic about him, but was much too roguish. I guess the original idea was to get Harrison Ford a new vehicle so that he could be a braver and less cynical Han Solo. So, that's my theory. Raiders is only a continuation of Star Wars, supplying the hero which the first film solely lacked. So Indiana Jones comes along, and the definitive American hero for the new age is born. He's up to his neck in Hollywood X's, and that's all that matters. So don't be fooled by all these reviews here that praise this film to the skies, calling it escapist fun. There may have been some thrills for the audience back in 1981, but most of the excitement was from the audacity of breaking with tradition, ignoring story and engagement with the characters, concentrating on spectacle and excess, and participating in an experience of concerted megalomania. After Star Wars, this film really cemented the ground for Hollywood excess. Most of the people here are not judging the film itself. When people say that Star Wars is good, I think they are in their new age PS mood. The same sort of thing when they say that Raiders is good. Mr. S. Dodd. That's a long ass review. Oh, you like Mamma Mia, the musical. You like High School Musical. Wait, 5.5. Okay. Mamma Mia, probably 6 point something. Yeah. The Day After Tomorrow. Oh, cinematic catastrophe. Wow. So this person don't like action. Okay, Back to the Future. Okay, seems like you have some good words for that. Blast from the past. Okay, some kind of sarcasm there. A Vision of Hell. Of course. Avatar. The real theme of Avatar is the megalomania of the director. He thinks he can create a world from scratch, and he thinks of this world as paradise. The only problem is that beauty comes from within. Bloated with megalomania as he is, his vision of paradise comes across as hell instead. I found the viewing of Pandora excruciating. There was a persistent sense of nausea throughout. It was meant to be the essence of beauty, but blue men with long tails undulating behind them are a utter perversity to the eyes. The garnish plant life reeked of poison. The animals combined insect, reptiles, and mammal, bringing out the worst features in each. How anyone can conceive of this concoction as beautiful is beyond me. Compare this to the slimy aliens in Cameron's earlier films are tame. In truth, I'm suspicious of anyone who calls Pandora beautiful. My theory is this: there is something ugly inside that is compels them to say that Pandora is beautiful. They take into consideration the budget of the film, the fact that it's made by the king of the world, that it stands as a testament to human ingenuity, technology, CGI, and so on, that the film becomes the byword for hype and it promotes a cult of celebrity, etc. In other words, those who find Pandora beautiful are also those who idolize the megalomania of Cameron. It's all a matter of worshipping excess, and if you do, you find Pandora beautiful. Otherwise, you say, hey, why are those slimy tentacles sticking out of all those animals on that planet? Yuck! The rest is a thinly disguised critique of the American invasion of Iraq, or more gently, the military industrial complex. But of course, it is hypocrisy through and through. Hollywood excess is an integral part of the military industrial complex. The Cameron is at the vanguard of Hollywood excess. He's a hypocrite, and no wonder his vision comes across as so ugly. Of course, not many people will say so. Not if they are worshipping at the altar of pride and excess. So Cameron taps into the general malaise and makes a lot of money. That's all there is to Avatar. It's a testament to greed and megalomania. In this universe of excess, there is a paradise which the film tries to recreate. If you live in that universe, you will find the vision beautiful. If you don't, it is very definition of repulsive. I think this person has something against all the action or adventures film, except for Back to the Future. Rated 8, huh? And Blast from the Past. Wow, tough crowd. The Matrix, disguised Scientology. A lot of people like The Matrix because they think it's deep. In fact, its apparent deepness is its primary selling point and is what has turned it into a blockbuster and trendsetter. Just ponder over this because there's a contradiction here. Whenever has Hollywood hit the jackpot by being profound, either in a philosophical or religious way? Something strange is going on here. A lot of the mystery disappears after we identify exactly what belief the Wachowski brothers are purveying here. It's Scientology. They are telling us that the power of the mind is able to free us from the matrix of the senses. The Scientologists are anxious to free themselves and become Therans, omnipresent and omnipowerful minds. Now, the success of the Matrix tells me just one thing, that people have become closet Scientologists. They don't grapple with the issue of appearance and reality in the way Scientologists do, but the core belief is there. They might call themselves an atheist or an evolutionist. We only accept what science tells us. But that's only an excuse for not really sorting out what they really believe in. So, along comes a film called The Matrix and it hits a chord. They can identify with Neo because they are aware of a thing called corporate media manipulating reality for them. They are also brought up on computer games, and so it's not too big a leap to imagine a virtual world completely replacing the real one. I can see how closet Scientologists can completely immerse themselves in the plight of Neo and his Christ-like struggle to free humanity from the clutches on the senses and become omnipowerful minds. In the parlance of the film, taking them to profound city of Zion. In that sense, the film is profound, in that it resonates with popular belief so accurately. There is just enough spattering of science and philosophy to take them in. People want to believe in science, but they don't want to be troubled like Einstein was. Does God play dice? The most convincing part of the film is where Morpheus demonstrates to Neo how virtual reality is created. This and the recurring motive of freeing the mind are the only authentic components of the film. The rest is a conventional Hollywood action flick, and one that is totally at odds with the underlying philosophy, considering the struggle with Agent Smith and the frequent popping in and out of virtual reality. Nothing makes sense. This is where real confusion starts to parade as profundity. I always thought that it was only intellectuals who mistook confusion for profundity. But apparently normal cinema goers do too. Maybe intellectuals and Hollywood action flick fans have something in common after all. They both worship the rational mind, and when rationality delivers a mess, the mess itself is seen as something profoundly rational. Maybe that's the crowning achievement of the Wachowski brothers. They have composed the being and time for the masses, but Heidegger's philosophical book was most pretentious garbage, and so is The Matrix. Wow, man. Dad. What happened to you? What happened to you? Let's see, the day after tomorrow. I'm sure they're going to talk about some sort of climate crisis not being real. All right, cinematic catastrophe. Watching this movie was a strange experience. It's like the producer has given us the sensationalist premise of environmental catastrophe, provided us with all eye candy of special effects, and then told us to fill in the gaps by writing a story to fit it all in. It's quite an easy task because there is so much potential for a good story and dramatic scenes, and while I was watching the movie, I was already anticipating these fantastical dramatic scenes that were bound to come up but never did. It begs the question, with all these possibilities for a good story, why did not the makers of this film write one? Because there is absolutely no story that really touches you, and no dramatic scene that really moves you. It does the legwork of introducing characters and inserting plot elements, but That's where it stays because nothing gets done with them. It's an absolute waste of a fantastic premise and great special effects. Since special effects does not a movie make, this gets the lowest rating in my book. Okay, I was wrong. I thought I thought they would comment something critical about the climate crisis itself, but nope. Just a critique take on the movie, which I respect. Let's see some 3 stars. Okay. Flash, glamour, and faulty signs. As an atmospheric scientist, I was intrigued to see this movie. The basic premise of this movie is based on the idea of anthropogenically induced human global warming, resulting in a catastrophic set of weather events that, in a matter of a week, will plunge the Earth into its next ice age. This movie, above all else, is a fictional, over exaggerated drama of well done special effects, poor acting, the most basic and mundane of plots, and a romance between two characters trapped in the New York Public Library. The main theme of the plot is a classical man versus nature struggle with a father trying to rescue his son and several friends after a climate changing storm that left behind meters of snow and ice. A group of friends who struggle to survive in New York during and after the storm, and the romance that develops in which the girl becomes ill because of an injury. As an atmospheric scientist, I was very disappointed. There are very few scientific truths in this movie. This movie came out in response to a surge in global warming alarmism and portrays the cause quite well in that it is completely over exaggerated. Is primarily a political tool, utilizes faulty science to scare people, and is all flash with no meaningful substance. While not the worst movie of all time, it is very close to the bottom. Summary: the acting and the plot are poor. The science in the movie, like that behind global warming alarmism, is highly flawed. The only thing that saves the movie is its special effect. Alright, Scott, the atmospheric scientist. Let me see. What else have you rated? Yeah, I've been hearing about this TV show, The Mash. I mean, obviously it has like over 9.8.4 rating. You like Click? I don't think I've seen Click, but I mean, it's Adam Sandler, so it's got to be some kind of funny. A workaholic architect finds a universal remote that allows him to fast forward and rewind to different parts of his life. Complications arise when the remote starts to overrule his choices. Okay, that's a nice premise. Overall, great movie. Drama, comedy, and a great story. I'm amazed I did not move from the time the movie started until the credits started rolling. I was totally engrossed in every moment. I would rate this now as my favorite Adam Sandler movie. I had put off seeing this movie for a while, just seeing it recently on TV for the first time. This movie is much different than Adam Sandler's other movies. It still continues the laughs and humor you would expect with Adam Sandler, but there is a much more serious undertone to the entire movie. I'm not sure whether younger children would grasp the point of the movie, but it still has enough laughs to entertain. Fantastic, and a must see. Cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been over an hour, so I am. Gotta go. It's yeah, hour and 15 minutes. Well, this was fun. I mean, I kind of like. I kind of like reviewing the reviews of the reviewers. So I'm glad we landed on IMDb today instead of I don't know, Reddit or Twitter. But Yeah, I'll try to do this more often so I can get used to live streaming often, and at the same time we can stumble on the unique random gem on internet. So until